of its own for less than a month, a guy called William B. Ide. So much like Texas, California was originally part of Mexico, but it was also full of a lot of American immigrants who didn't really like living in Mexico. So during the Mexican-American War of 1846-1848, a lot of the American settlers obviously sided with the US. During the war, William B. Ide was this sort of eccentric character who helped some American rebels capture the California town of Sonoma from the Mexicans. And because Ide sort of had delusions of grandeur, after capturing this one city, he proclaimed it an independent republic with himself as president. He called it the Bear Republic, and he even got one of his friends to make a flag. That lasted for about a month before the Bear Republic was just absorbed by the advancing US Army. In 1911, Ide's Bear Republic flag was made the official flag of the state of California, so now you know where that came from. And lastly, let us talk about the first and last president of Hawaii, Sanford Dole. Back in the late 19th century, Hawaii was an independent country, but it was also a country in a state of transition. There was a lot of pro-American sentiment in that country, in part because a lot of Americans had been moving there, just like in Texas and California. In 1893, Hawaii had a coup, and the Queen of Hawaii was overthrown by a bunch of American Hawaiian politicians. Their goal was to get Hawaii to join the United States. They had a lot of reasons for wanting to do this, but the one you always read about in the history books was that they were a bunch of rich guys and they wanted to restore free trade with the US, which was something the US had recently taken away. In any case, all of this went down at a time when the idea of the US absorbing new territories, particularly weird islands halfway around the world, was this big controversial idea in US politics. Republicans were for it, but Democrats were against it. And shortly after the coup happened, a Democrat, Grover Cleveland, was elected president of the United States, and he was like, "Shut up, Hawaii, we're not annexing you." So while the coup people sat around waiting for a Republican to get elected, they formed a new government, which they called the Republic of Hawaii. It lasted for about 6 years, and the only president was a guy called Sanford Dole, who was a prominent American Hawaiian politician. The Doles were a pretty powerful family in Hawaii, involved in everything from politics to religion to pineapples. The Republic of Hawaii was abolished in 1900 when the Republican William McKinley was elected president of the United States and agreed to annex Hawaii to the US. Now, there does exist a faction of native Hawaiians who are pretty sore about how all this happened. In 1993, the US Congress and President Clinton officially apologized for the American role in the 1893 coup. They referred to it as the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy and said that President Dole's government was formed without the consent of the native Hawaiian people. But all of that is way more than we can get into here. So what do you think of all of this history? Had you ever heard of any of these obscure state presidents before? Let me know in the comments, particularly if you know any other obscure American presidents I missed. And let me know as well if you have any other good ideas for future videos I could make about American history. Until then, see you next week.